What's up, internet? My name's Ori. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Today we're going over Survivor Season 44, episode number 7. We were doing like watch-along parties over on Kick. If you're not following the Kick channel, make sure you check out the links in the description down below, pinned comment as well. But I've been feeling a little under the weather. You probably can maybe even still hear it in my voice a little bit. But I am starting to feel a little bit better. Hopefully we can have those continue next week as well. But as far as this episode went, it wasn't a bad episode, right? Like, I was entertained, but it just feels like they're putting a hat on a horse at this point with all of these twists and advantages that they're putting into play. It feels like they're not really playing Survivor at the end of the day. And we'll get into more of it as we kind of break down the episode. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. First off, we had the fallout from the Josh vote out last tribal. Yam being very worried that he saw his name written down, which is something you never want to see in Survivor, is your name on that parchment. So he's worried now that since it's been thrown out there already, it's easier to throw his name out more and more. We then got them kind of naming this new merge tribe, which I believe they came to the conclusion that it's going to be Vava or VAVA. I'm not sure 100% how you pronounce that. But apparently that means 4, so it's 4-4. So like season 44, which is a pretty good name. And then they were like, oh wait, where's Matt? we need to get his thoughts on this. He was with Franny. And here's the thing about Matt. He really hasn't had a chance to even vote in this game yet, since he had lost his vote for the first 2 tribal councils that he went to. So this will be the first time he has a vote. He also thinks he has an idol, but after putting the pieces together with information from Brandon, he realizes that Danny actually probably has the real idol and that he has the fake idol, since when he opened the birdcage, there was only one idol in there, where Brandon tells him like, oh yeah, there was a fake one in there too. So he kind of realizes, oh, Danny probably has the real idol. Meanwhile, while that's happening, we had Danny kind of pushing Lauren, since she has 2 votes, and that's a dangerous thing in this game to still have. And while Danny's doing that, Danny is being pushed by Matt as a blind side, potentially for the upcoming tribal. Before we get to all that, though, we have to do the immunity challenge. And as soon as they're walking up, I realize, oh, something's up here. There's 2 mats. And anytime you see 2 mats, you know they're going to be splitting them up into, 2 separate teams here. And that's what they end up doing. They divided them into 2 teams. I actually have them listed over here. Top row was the purple team. The bottom row was the orange team. And the way this is going to work is there will be the final person from each group will be immune no matter what. But if you're the last person standing out of everyone, your whole team will be safe from the vote. And not just that, you won't vote. You will just be sitting at the jury booth watching as tribal goes down. So it's really just a way of making less people be vulnerable at tribal and up for the vote. And I just hate when they take away options. I feel like what makes these kind of games, whether it's Survivor, Big Brother, The Challenge, whatever reality show it is, I think what makes things entertaining and more exciting are more options. The more options you can give a player to make moves, the better. When you limit options, it makes it less exciting. So we get on into, splitting them up. Carson actually ends up picking the Gray Rock, which means he gets to pick a team that he thinks will end up doing well. And he actually picks the orange team, that bottom one. So that's where all of his luck relies on them winning, or he will have to go to tribal. How things played out, Lauren and Carolyn, they dropped first for their respective teams. Kane, he ends up dropping during the transition. It was one of those ones where they had the pole they had to hold over their head, and there was a ball on the end of the pole that they had to kind of balance while they were on a balance beam. Every so often, they would have to move to a smaller and smaller section of that beam. Kane dropped as they were making that transition. Heidi ends up dropping as well, making it only 2 left for that orange team. It came down to Franny and Danny, and then very quickly after, Danny dropped, so meaning it was all up to Franny. She would be immune no matter what, but if she drops, the other team doesn't have to go to tribal, and her whole team would have to go. And then in the end, though, the rest of the teams, they all end up dropping, but it comes down to Brandon and Franny, and Brandon drops first, meaning Franny not only wins immunity for her whole team, they also get reward, which ended up being PB&J and all that kind of stuff as well. So it all ended up pretty well for that orange team. But now, if you look, Franny and Matt, they're on different sides. So this is going to be interesting how this all kind of turns out. Like I said, the orange team, that one on the bottom there with Franny, Danny, Carson, Heidi, Carolyn, and Kane, they don't have to go to tribal, but they also got rewards. So they headed back to their beach. Meanwhile, the other tribe, they had to go to the old Soka beach, which also meant for Matt that he didn't bring his bag. So he's like, I only brought my water bottle, which meant that not only his fake idol gets left behind, and he's like, whether that was real or fake, I don't have it, but he also can't even play his shot in the dark because that is also in his bag as well. So he's got nothing that he can do at camp. He could just hope that at tribal that Franny maybe brings his bag with her, so that maybe he can pull them out to try and get it done. Again, the winning team went back and they were eating their PB&J. They had some chips. There was also a note that was kind of ominously placed there, but we'll talk about that in a bit. And while they're munching down on their food, they end up talking about how they think it's probably going to be Yam or Matt who's gone, seeing as there were 3 original Ratu tribe members on there. And then those 2, Yam and Matt, each on opposite tribes from each other. So it kind of seemed like they would stick Ratu strong and vote out one of them 2. Meanwhile, over on the old Soka beach with the losing team, Matt tries to pull Jamie and Brandon aside where he's like, hey, like, where are your guys' heads at? Like, the way I kind of see it, I think you guys are going to stick together. And it's either me or Yam Yam. But maybe I'm seeing it wrong and you guys want to take Lauren out. And it's like, nah, dude, we don't want to take Lauren out. Like, that's not happening. He's like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And while that's happening, we had Yam talking to Lauren about how Danny wanted to take her out because of her extra vote. And she's like, oh, that's really interesting. So maybe that was kind of a way for her to pull in, for Yam to kind of pull Lauren to his side, being like, look, I gave you this good information. Maybe you should keep me around because I'm somebody good to work with. But let's talk about the note. So there was a note with the winners over on their beach, and basically what the note said, there was a new advantage inside the cage. Keys are scattered around the island, and the first one to get a key that opens the cage gets the advantage. And as soon as they were done reading that note, boom, they were off. Everybody started scattering, looking for keys. Eventually, though, it's Heidi who ends up getting it, and her advantage is only good for this tribal. It's a control the vote advantage. She gets to pick one player tonight that she can tell them who she wants them to vote for, and they must do it. So pretty much she gets to vote tonight. Somebody else doesn't get the vote. How this played out as well, we'll talk about it when it gets there, but I didn't like it very much. But let's talk about where the votes potentially are going to go. So we had Yam and Matt kind of talking about like, hey, if we vote together, you know, if they split the vote, we could have the final say on who goes. If they're splitting, it could end up being like a tie and make it go that way. It really was a bad pitch. But if they did that, that would then allow Heidi to steal a vote, have Matt and Yam vote together, and then make it so that they could vote out, let's say, Lauren or Brandon or Jamie, because they would then have a 3-2 advantage on the votes if they voted together. But there's no saying that that's what they would do. Once they get to tribal, Matt actually brought a papaya. He's like, hey, Jeff, can I offer you this papaya in this trying time? And then we don't have to vote anybody out. You don't have to put anybody's torch out. It can all be fine. Because he doesn't have his bag of tricks. And he even asks, he's like, if they have my bag, could I go get it? Could I go get my bag if it's over there? And Jeff's like, well, do you have the bag? And Franny's like, oh no, I don't have your bag. I'm sorry. And then the whole discussion was about, you know, whether or not it will be Matt or Yam who is voted out. And you know, what makes sense for them, right? Like, Matt is someone who has connections over the other side. So if you vote him out, you might be making enemies over there. But also Yam is someone who, because he doesn't have a lot of connections over there, can be pulled in as a number. So like, what really makes sense? They go to read the votes, and Heidi reveals that her advantage is that she gets to pick someone. She ends up picking Lauren, and she tells her that she has to vote Yam Yam out publicly. I don't like this. I don't like this. And also, when it was revealed publicly, that was a chance for Heidi to be able to convey to Matt and Yam, hey, I'm having Lauren vote for Brandon. Or I'm having Lauren vote for Jamie. That way it would tell Matt and Yam, vote together and you can vote her out. Or vote together, you can vote him out. But instead, she chose to have her vote for Yam. Not only do I not like that it was a public thing, like she should have had to, this is how it should have been. It should have been, oh, I get to control a vote. Lauren, you're not voting anymore. Now Heidi is going to vote. That's what it should have been. It shouldn't have been like, oh, I have to tell Lauren she has to vote this way. Because it just is silly to make Lauren write something down if it's not her vote. Right? That just didn't make any sense to me. And then to have it be public, if you were going to make it so that Lauren has to write a name down, have Heidi tell her in secret, right? Like, make them both go to the voting booth together and say, hey, you have to write this down. Because when you do it publicly, they could have made it so both Yam and Matt stayed, which was something that Heidi had talked about, where she's like, well, if they vote together, we can take that other vote, make it a 3-2 vote for whoever we want to go. So by her calling out Yam, it was really just kind of a waste, because then in the end, it ended up being Matt who sent the jury. So now Heidi looks bad, and everybody on Ratu looks great because they saved Yam Yam. Right? And Lauren can just say, I wasn't even going to vote Yam, right? Like, I was going to vote Matt, but she made me do it. So really all this advantage did was kind of screw Heidi in the end. I'm really curious actually what Lauren would have done. Would Lauren have voted for Matt if given the chance? Or would she have voted for Yam? It makes sense that she probably would have been voting Yam anyway, just to split the votes. But it would have been interesting. If she would have voted Matt instead, or if she would have ended up voting Yam like she did. I don't know. What do you guys think of all these crazy advantages? I just don't think, I think it's too much, right? I think it's too much, and then I don't like the way it actually played out, right? Like, I want all of these players going to tribal and everybody is on the block, right? Like, when there's more options, it's more exciting. In this tribal, because, or actually, you know what? I just thought about this. I was like, oh, Heidi could have said she was going to vote for Brandon. She couldn't, because Brandon was immune. There were only 4 people as an option. This was such a bad twist. I hated it. I really didn't like it. I gotta be honest. It wasn't a bad episode, but these twists and advantages are just too much. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Also, if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. You like this video, hit that like button, hit that notification bell. You'll never miss a video. You'll never miss a stream. Links to all of my socials are in the description down below. Also a pinned comment as well. You can check out my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord, join all the conversations. The new Kick stream. I should be live next week with a watch party, watching the episode over there on Kick with you guys. So go follow that. Next week should be kind of interesting as well. It seems like Carson might be having a real rough time. Doesn't seem like he's feeling too well either. It looked like Carolyn was stuck in some kind of net during the challenge. So we'll see how that all plays out as well. But thank you guys for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I will see you next time.